glasses off.
Good morning. We are live. We're actually live on Rumble today too, so this is great. And in my t-shirt.
Nice.
And good morning, Kathleen. How are you?
I am well. How are you, ladies?
Why don't you tell us who you are?
All right. I am Kathleen Bustamante. I am the Vice Chair of Moms for Liberty, Canadian County.
Nice.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So, Julia, how about you take over from here?
Okay. Well, I've attended the Canadian County Moms for Liberty meetings for a few months, and I just love these gals. They're sharp. They're doing research. They are staying on top of issues, solving problems regularly. And we have a special guest coming to the meeting. And Kathleen, I'm going to let you talk about that, when and where and who and all the things, and some of the hoopla that's been going on.
Okay. Yes, I know it's been rather exciting. So this Tuesday, what is that? April 25th at 7 p.m. Secretary of Education Ryan Walters is going to be joining us. He's going to speak at our chapter meeting. And that's going to be at Liberty Church in Yukon. That's on Main Street. I don't know the address off the top of my head, but we asked Mr. Walters to come, and mainly we are curious about what his sort of 1-year goals are. So over the next year, what exactly is he planning to work on to improve education in Oklahoma? And then we've also asked him to give us also his long-term, long-range goals for the next 4 years. We feel like that's going to help us as Moms for Liberty, volunteers, and also just community members to know what to expect, to know what the Department of Education is going to be focusing on, and also how we as moms, parents, grandparents, etc., can assist and can plan ahead. As you ladies are well aware, and you're doing the same or similar work that we're doing, we want to be prepared. We want to be in the know, and we want to have a game plan. And it's so important to be aware of what's happening in our schools. And as the more research we do, the more we're finding out about just a lot of garbage, a lot of stuff popping up that we and parents should be concerned about. So we want to know what Ryan Walters' plan is to address those issues. There has been talk from a couple of our members have let us know that there were maybe moles. I'm not sure what to call them, but there are groups.
Moles don't threaten people. I know, I have a bunch of them in my pasture and they don't threaten anybody. Just saying.
Okay, I don't know what creature to call them. But yes, word somehow got out in a couple of organizations that Ryan Walters is going to be visiting us. And so there has been talk that they are going to be protesting, that they're going to be standing across the streets, holding signs, and we don't know what else. We're hoping that it will be peaceful, that people will not be trying to get into the building, but you never know.
Here's my question for you. What are they protesting?
That's
Moms
a great
for Liberty?
question.
Are they protesting a church?
We're protesting parents having a civilized meeting.
Right? Seriously,
Okay.
right? I know. One of course, we're being called book banners, Moms for Liberty is all about banning books. And so that's a huge one. And that's nationwide right now. But in Oklahoma, there have been quite a few very vocal opponents to Moms for Liberty saying, that we're just out to ban books and we don't want kids to read. And so
let me rephrase. So Kathleen, what you're telling me is that there are people that are angry that you want behaviorally appropriate books for age groups.
Absolutely. We want age appropriate literature. Absolutely.
You don't want books.
So that means not porn
read.
for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or a 13-year-old.
Go figure,
Wow,
Go
you're
know.
a mean lady, Kathleen.
I know.
That you do not want porn for 15-year-olds.
Absolutely. I know. I have a 14-year-old in the public school system here. And thankfully, right now, we have not had any issues in her school. And the teachers actually have been gracious. Her literature teacher has been gracious enough to work with me and send me emails and just let me know, if there's anything questionable, on this book list, let me know and we will choose other books for her to read. But I know there are many teachers who are not as accommodating and who will actually bypass parents, keep that information quiet. And yeah, it's something to be aware of. It's something that we feel incredibly important to be researching. Dana Mooney, our chapter chair, is incredible. She and Cynthia Alexander, she's also with Moms for Liberty, Canadian County. They have been doing an amazing job just researching the books in our public school systems in our area, Canadian County, just working so hard, spending hours and hours and hours, just researching to see what those kids are being exposed to. And so we want parents to know.
One of the things Dana said to me yesterday was that they cannot get into the classrooms to see the classroom libraries.
Right.
And I was, back in the day, I was at our school all the time.
Yeah.
There would be no way those teachers would have had books like that in their classroom because parents were in and out regularly. And now they've locked the parents out, which there's a book. It's called No More Secrets. That
Yeah.
I love. I ordered it just so I could read it myself, and it's
Good.
so that parents can teach their children not to keep secrets from them, no matter who says to. So
I love it. I love it. I saw that advertised, and I need to order quite a few copies of those myself. That's an excellent resource.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So,
you know, it's sad and interesting all at the same time that when we started researching all of these books, when our former board member Molly Jenkins brought this to our attention, and we started researching all of these books, we were using a program that all of the libraries had online, so you could actually go to the library and find out what was in the library. It showed what was in there. And I have lists of the books that were in these libraries, and it's important to point out that the librarian is the gatekeeper for these
Absolutely.
books, because not every library had the same sort of books. There was a library in Del City who had the most smutty of the cartoons.
Wow.
And then there was an elementary school and a middle school in Bethany that had 0 of them.
Wow.
So you have to consider that it is the librarian
Yes.
that is the gatekeeper of these things. And if you have this stuff in your library, it's because the gatekeeper has allowed them or even solicited and brought them in.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. You know, Dana is going to the schools and sitting and reading so much material. And it's been interesting. The librarians or the library staff in the different schools handle things very differently now. And Cynthia has been working at her, I think it's her child's school, and looking through their books. They've been great. They've given her plenty of leeway to just take her time and do what she needs to do. Meanwhile, Dana mentioned that the library staff actually sits 3 feet away from her, watches everything she does. She is not allowed to take pictures. She is not allowed to write anything down. No, I'm sorry. I think she is able to write things down, but she's not to take any pictures. She can't take any of the books away from the school. And she said that they have been just interrupt her, you know, like anytime she sits there for more than a few minutes, you know, perusing this literature, they interrupt her, they try to talk to her, they're asking her what she's doing. So they are not working with parents. And it is, it's alarming.
Mm-hmm. That is alarming. And I know that some of the moms have approached we're going to talk about school boards here in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Some of the moms have actually approached their school boards about this issue. Have you gotten anywhere?
You know, not so much in Canadian County. Parents, we're finding, are still hesitant to speak up, to speak out, to get involved. It helps that they have an organization like Moms for Liberty to kind of be the in-between. You know, they need to feel like they have support, that they have somebody behind them. And so there are parents and moms who are coming to the meetings and saying, you know, this is what I'm concerned about, but how do I go about addressing this? And so, so far we have not heard of many parents who have, you know, gone to the school board meetings. I shouldn't say that. They're going to the school board meetings. Not a whole lot of parents are speaking up yet. So we're hoping that as they hear about us, as they come to our meetings, that they will be emboldened and they will realize there are others just like them with the same concerns and who have their back, you know, that we will go with them to these school board meetings. We will support them. We will sit behind them. That's what we're looking to establish in our community. So that's where we are right now. I expect that we will see a lot more. We see a lot more parents going to those school board meetings and vocalizing, you know, their concerns.
Good.
Do you think that parents are actually scared to say anything? I know it looks like I'm not talking to you because I'm trying to get a couple of slides ready for just a minute. And it's like I'm trying to do like 5 things at one time.
Multitasking.
Yes, I'm multitasking. Since I was out feeding a lamb this morning and didn't quite get back into, and that was, I just realized I'm not sure that I want grandchildren if they're going to leave them with me. I'm like, I didn't like getting up.
Yes, you did.
It's
Can you
different
just
for a
wait?
grandchild.
You'll be okay.
Absolutely.
Rub the dirt on. Rub some dirt on it.
Exactly.
So do you think that parents are actually not, do you think they're scared to speak out because they don't want to be singled out? And I mean, when you talk to parents in your group, are they like, I'm not going to say anything because I know that teacher's going to get on my kid. I'm not going to say anything because I know this will happen. I mean, do you feel like schools at this point in time are kind of
Bullies.
Yeah, they're so authoritarian that they're just bullying parents into silence. And as the follow-up question, don't you think by literally getting a group of you together, that's what's going to help get more people into the group? I mean, it's like a snowball, right? I mean, once you get the core together, then that kind of the rest of it comes as it goes downhill. I mean, is that kind of what you're trying to do here?
That's exactly right. Yes. Parents are, and I have to say too, a lot of these Canadian county towns, they're small towns. And so people have grown up in these towns. People are well connected. They know the teachers, they know the principals, they've been around for a long time. So that's even difficult. You think about like, we have members in our group who have grown up with the school board members, or the superintendent. So, so that's hard. It's hard to stand up.
I never thought about that. So it's like,
Right?
how do you come against your friend or somebody that you've grown up with and go, hey, that's wrong? I mean,
Absolutely.
that in itself adds kind of a layer of I don't know. What do you want to say there? I mean, it just kind of pushes people down and makes them not want to do something.
Absolutely. And I feel like I've had, it's been a little bit easier for me because I just moved here less than a year ago from Portland, Oregon. And so I don't know anybody.
Welcome to Oklahoma.
Oh my goodness. And let me tell you, it is a breath of fresh air. I have to say, that the education system is not perfect here, but I would not have let my children step foot in a public school in Oregon. So just even the fact that I would allow my daughter to go to a public school here, it says a lot,
Yeah.
There's definitely work to be done, but the good thing was, I went and I spoke to my school, to the school board in Mustang, and it was far easier for me. I have no connections to these people, I don't know them. I don't.
Oh, that's true. That makes sense.
So it was much easier for me to get up and speak to the school board about things that were concerning us. But I know not everybody has that luxury, and so that's been, I think, one of the toughest things for a lot of the people in our group anyway. And so, yes, absolutely. I believe that to have a larger organization to come alongside and say, hey, we'll help you out with this, and we will help you write something out if you need it, but the important thing is be there, speak up, be proactive, and don't be afraid. Absolutely. I think that people are worried about stepping on toes. I think that we have this idea of educators as being above us somehow, that teachers somehow, because they have that degree, they know better, they know more than we do. And that is absolutely not true. We are parents. We are the best educators. We are natural educators. Those people got a degree. We birthed these children.
Yes, we get that message from our government, from our media, from everybody in our society, and that is by design. Absolutely. And parents, the Bible says that parents are to teach their children. It doesn't say you should farm that out to other people. And our schools say that they are that's what they're doing is working with parents, and then they slam the doors in in parents' faces, and that's not a good message.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to say, so this coming Tuesday, the 25th,
Yeah.
at 7 p.m., Liberty Church, Yukon, and that address is 450 East Main Street in Yukon.
And I've got it in the chat, so just check the chat.
And State School Superintendent Ryan Walters will be the guest speaker.
That's right.
So that's exciting. I'm so glad y'all were able to get him to come.
I know. Please come.
We don't agree with him on every single thing he does. Oh, good. Thank you, Dana. Dana put their website up.
Good job.
That's perfect. If you want more information, and we need to increase moms. This is how to empower parents, get together and support one another.
Amen.
And approach these hard topics with your friends. I mean, I knew everybody when my kids were in school, and I was able to be up at the school all the time.
Yes.
And it was easy for me to say, this, you can't do this, you must do this.
Exactly.
So I had an ongoing conversation with principals and the superintendent and the teachers, and and a lot of times the teachers appreciated the support to do the right thing.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, the fringe that want to get this illicit material in our schools, that's the smallest minority, but they're the main ones. So
absolutely. And they're the loudest too.
And they're the loudest. And they've got federal money to back them.
That's exactly right. And I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because since COVID, parents are not welcome in schools. And it's just, you have to be part of the PTA. You have to go through a process now where you have to apply to be part of the PTA in order for the school to allow parents now in the classroom. And if you don't go through their process, you have no access, literally no access to those children, to those classrooms. Now with school on Chromebooks, you have very little access to what they're reading, what they're seeing. It drives me crazy. I want my daughter, even just to help her with her math homework. I had to talk to her teacher. Her teacher had to walk me to the library, check out a math book at the library so that I could help her in her math homework. And a lot of parents don't have the time for that, or, just don't know that they're allowed to do these things. They don't realize they have power still. They have authority, but they need to step out and take it, utilize the authority and the power that is, that belongs to them,
Yeah.
Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for being on with us this morning. And we are looking forward to being there on Tuesday. Because I'm, it might be like, it might be like NASCAR. Who knows?
I know, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So, Kathleen, thanks again. It was great to see you, and we will see you on Tuesday.
All right. Thanks so much, ladies. You guys have a great day.
So much for
all right. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
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 I wasn't sure what we were going to do there because I didn't know how Kathleen left. So that was instructive. I just learned something. So I guess now we have to go, hey, guest, get off.
Oh, goodness.
It'd be nice if I could control that from my end, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead. I think Michael's ready to come on.
No, I think Michael is not ready to come on.
Michael I see. It says Michael, but there's not a
I'm just going to tell him whenever he's ready.
Okay. But, I also wanted to add, she talked about protesters coming and all of that have said they were going to come. They immediately, after threatening to egg moms and take a punch at Ryan Walters that they would never threaten anyone.
Wait. What? What did they say? I don't think people maybe know what we were talking about.
Yeah,
What did they say? What was this going on?
This group that said they were going to protest said they were going to egg the moms and take a swing at Ryan Walters or something along those lines. I'm not quoting. I'm sure they're going to say something. But they immediately came on afterwards and said they would never threaten anybody. They're just trying to educate students. But anyway, there's going to
be maybe my definition of education isn't like the same or something, because I was an educator for many years.
Right.
I guess I never threatened. I never considered threats as part of an educational curricula of any kind.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really a threat. Just kidding.
Oh. I guess I consider it not a threat because it was just egging. So we're just going to egg you. Yes. And that's not a big deal. Kids used to do that in middle school or whatever. Yes. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a threat.
Security. There will be security there. So I don't think anything is going to be disruptive or anything.
No, but Kathleen made a really good point while we're waiting on Michael. Kathleen made a really good point. For years, we have held so many groups of people, like you and I were taught to, respect our teachers. We were taught to respect the military. We were taught to respect our pastors. We were taught to respect, and our legislators, our president. Yeah. And we had all of these people up on a pedestal, right. Where it was just kind of
all
like
government workers, pretty much.
Yes. And I think, again, even though I know my parents for sure, that there was nothing nefarious about that. They just wanted to make sure we respected our elders, which is, right. The mantra that we grew up with.
Exactly.
So I don't think there was anything nefarious there, but I do think that kind of behavior has led into what we have right now, with parents saying teachers would never do that. Teachers are right. The greatest thing ever. Well, yeah, there's some, fantastic teachers out there. And then there's some really horrible teachers out there. And right. There was one in Norman that said, yeah, I'm going to indoctrinate your kids, and that's too bad. We've got them who are, we have so many teachers who are getting into relationships with students, illicit, illegal relationships with students. So to blanket generalize that the military is great or teachers are great or whatever, we really honestly have to stop doing that, because that's just flat not true. And it's flat not true right now.
There are great teachers, and there are teachers that you have to know that that's stranger danger.
I see somebody. I see Michael. I see him, and now we all see him.
All right. Hello, ladies.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Busy this morning. Busy day.
I know you are. And do you only have like 15? If you have like 15 minutes, we'll just do it really fast.
Well, we can just go till whenever. I may get a call or get it. When you were talking yesterday about Friday, I was thinking the next Friday, not necessarily today. So when I said, I'll be here an hour, I was thinking next week. But
you will then too. But I just thought, if we talk about school boards today, because we were talking about school boards on the last one, and I'm going to try something. I have a slide I've prepared that I want to see if maybe I can get them to upload. I'd have to save it first. I was doing it here this morning on the fly. Let me save it and see if I can upload it.
So, Michael, tell us, while Jenny's working on that, tell us the different, you're on school boards for kids, and you're on our rope board, and what all things do you do, and how, list a couple of things that you've helped parents to do.
Well, initially I ran for school board just because this was a year ago. Because I think that with my own experience with my kids being in public school, private school, and homeschool, I just saw, that there's no real leadership when it comes to actual school boards in public education. So I just took it upon myself and a whole group of moms, and we just developed a campaign, ran for school board. Unfortunately, we lost that race. We can talk about all that some other day. But in doing so, I made a lot of connections just throughout the state, honestly. And one of them was Reed Downey with School Boards for Kids.
Uh-huh.
And I got with Reed just because Reed is so passionate also about education, and just he is so involved on the proficiency side of things. And that's where we get a lot of the proficiency data that I talk about, where we had groups of people go through, and we literally just went into the state scorecard website and just downloaded data, filled in spreadsheets, compiled everything, so we can give parents and people a real easy to digest, easy to look at view of the actual proficiencies around. And I met Jenny very early in my school board campaign. Jenny's just active in education across the board. And the thing that I liked about Jenny and Rope especially is Jenny was the only person to really come up and start educating me.
Right.
Because I can tell you, running for school board, there's no resources for you. There's no one comes up to say, hey, this is your role. This is how it works. This is, no one tells you anything in any capacity. I mean, you literally, outside of maybe a prior school board member or some administrator coming in and just saying, this is your job. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And I had those conversations also, where I was invited into the school district. The superintendent sat us all down and said, okay, this is how it works, blah, blah, 1, 2, 3, this is what you do. There was nothing about, hey, you're my boss. You're the one that governs this school.
Right.
I work for you.
Right.
I implement the standards and the policies and the things that, and we'll just go back to the word govern again. Those school board members govern the entire school. I mean, everything.
Okay.
They're supposed to.
Let me throw up this little thing that I put together really fast, and a couple of the things. Okay, so this is actually a presentation that or a piece of paper that we put together and we give to people when we go out to do talks. School board versus the superintendent. Who holds the power? So it's not very easy to see there, which is sad.
Maybe on full screen.
However, yeah, I wonder if you do it on full screen. Oh, you can see it. If you do it on full screen, you can actually see it pretty well. So the school board hires the superintendent, the teachers, adopts evaluation policy, conducts annual evaluation of the superintendent. Do you suppose from that very first statement, there's a reason why the Oklahoma State School Boards Association does not want to really train you as to how that goes? Because the Oklahoma State School Board Association and the State Superintendents Association, COSA, work very, very closely together, right? Yes. So how would COSA feel if OSSBA was saying, hey, school board, you're the one that pays attention to that superintendent. You're the one who hires him. You're the one who makes him act right. That wouldn't be okay, right? Because our little, what do you want to call them? Our little cabal, our little school board, public school cabal would not like the fact, that they were actually teaching that. So here's another one. The school board establishes salary for teachers and certified personnel. So that doesn't sound like the superintendent does that. Here's another good one that people don't know. Establish and adopts the curriculum, graduation requirements, reviews student achievement, and reports to the district. So if you remember, Michael, yesterday you said that most schools were below 50% in reading. So who's at fault for that? The superintendent or the school board?
School board, ultimately.
The school board.
And
Yeah.
why aren't they reporting that at school board meetings?
Yeah, well, that is, and that's another job I think that is failing miserably as far as these school boards go. There is no communication. I mean, they should be that they're our voice as a parent. They're our voice in that school district, and they should be the ones that are constantly reporting academics, progress. Whatever it is, they should be constantly telling us as parents, as a community, as taxpayers, exactly what's happening in these school districts. And they, outside of just you send an email or something to a school board member and it's a canned response, it literally, I don't even know if they respond to their own emails. I think there's probably communication director or somebody in there just responding, to half of their emails in the first place. But I agree. There is, if I was a school board member, let's just fast forward. If I would have won the job, I would have gone just at least in my district itself. I would have said, okay, I have these 7 elementary schools in my district. Here is, and I would just tell my superintendent, say, I want to send out this email to all the parents in my district, say, here's the progress of where our kids are now. This is the reading and math levels in our elementary schools. This is where we are right now. This is where we've been. This is where I'm going to direct that our schools get to, is this level up here. Right. We're here. We're going to go there. And I need your help as parents to continue to keep the pressure on and to be partners with us to make sure that we are increasing and doing the right thing for these kids. That's the very first thing I would have done, is had a public announcement of, this is where we are. Here's our plan. This is where we're going to go.
Right.
Well, and as Dana just puts up, or they don't respond at all. We hear that from many parents. Well, and it's interesting that you say that you would have told the parents that you were in this together, hey, let's all do this together. I think that's another reason why they don't want parents involved. And if you look at, let's look at a couple of more of that. The school board reports and interfaces with parents and community, directs, now this is important, directs complaints and grievances. So what Dana just said flies in the face of what a school board member is supposed to do, because what a school board member is supposed to do is what Michael just said that they're supposed to do. They're supposed to listen to parents and then take that information and then say, go to the English teacher and say, hey, we're not going to do pornographic books for book reports. Okay, we're done with that. And that's what they do, for the parent, on behalf of the parent. So that's another one. So creates, adopts, and reviews policies that govern the district. So when Edmond had the mask policy, Michael, so that school board could have reviewed that policy and not gone, hey, we're getting money from the government to push masking. So,
well, let's use their own language here. I doubt that was actually a policy, because I think a policy has either got to be, voted on by a district or something.
Right.
It was just some protocol is basically what it was, or procedure. Okay, so they use all these terms, just to make everything sound official, but ultimately, they just go unchecked. And as parents, if we just continue to let them just do whatever they want to do, and we don't push back and we don't say something, they're just going to continue to do it. And that goes back, Jenny, that, you were the first one to start actually informing me as to what my job, entailed, and no one else did. And I told Jenny that multiple times, and she was like, well, I can't be the only one saying it. I said, yes, Jenny, you are literally the only one that and wrote that said, hey, this is how the job operates. This is kind of what you do. Here's your responsibilities. This is your role. Jenny was the only one that did that. So,
and that's sad because I got all of that information from Idaho, the Idaho State School Boards Association. So in Idaho, you have a pretty good state school boards association, but let's look at some of the things that our um, uh, state school board association does. So first of all, let's talk about training. So this comes from OSSBA, and this talks about how much training is required for a school board member. If you have a 3-year term, you have 9 credits. If you have a 4-year term, you have 12 credits. If you have 5 years, you have to take 15 credits. Most are 4 years, right? 4-year terms. So they're taking 12 credits. Well, so what kind of courses are they taking, you might want to ask? Well, let's just say that the National School Boards Association, of which the OSSBA is a member, and they never got out after the NASBA told the Department of Justice to investigate parents who were going to their school board meetings upset. And NASBA did that. It's well known. They wrote a letter to the Justice Department and said, hey, go, take care of these parents.
They called parents domestic terrorists.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, OSSBA never got out of NASBA, whereas a lot of other states did. But there's the NASBA equity. Okay, so here's one for you. HR Academy Series interviews, do and don'ts for interviewing for equity. In this session of the HR Academy Series, the OSSBA team and a panel of special guests will discuss the interviewing process, identifying candidates to the interview environment, process, and legal landmines. 4-part package and pricing. Okay, for equity. Not equality, but equity. Okay. Legislative advocacy for education leaders. This is this is done by Sean Heim, who is the director of the OSSBA, and Joe Ciano, who used to be, or is he still, the superintendent of Norman? Wasn't he Norman?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
And Rooney Virgin, who is Emily Virgin's dad, I believe it is, their attorneys. Break down Governor Stitt's budget proposal and state of the state address and talk about the critical role school board members play in legislative advocacy. Okay. Here's another one. Voices, equity, race, and student achievement. This is for one. And this qualifies for a couple of parts. So Jason Brown, a Norman Public Schools Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Stephanie Williams, will teach you how districts can progress on the important issues of equity, race, and student achievement and the critical leadership of school board members. Does that sound against HB 1775 at all?
Yes, it has.
Is that just me?
Directly in the face of. But
Where's the academics in that? I don't see any.
Exactly.
I don't see anything
what
academic
about reading
there.
and writing and math? I don't know. They don't seem that interested in that.
They sure do seem interested in equity and inclusion and all of that kind of stuff. And here's a little.
To have equity, that is the end result being the same. You have to go to the lowest common denominator to make that happen. The weakest link will be the goal.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and Dana is saying too, we see the same thing with conferences that teachers and school staff attend, violation of HB 1775. I remember
that is so true.
A very old friend of mine who has been a teacher for many, many, many years, was telling me about some of the conferences that she had to take, because if you're a teacher, you have to go to these conferences every year or whatever, so that you can keep your license, or, it's just crazy. Parents should decide whether, you're a good teacher or not. But then that's not true, because I, nearly got fired because I was too hard. So there you go. I'm not sure. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. But I think we're in a place and time right now where if we don't, if we don't try to explain the difference between equity and equality over and over again, like Julia said, equity is equality of outcomes. Basically, everybody gets the same outcome. Equality, on the other hand, is equality of our ability to try to
Right.
influence what we do. Yeah,
Yeah,
our opportunity.
And some people will take an opportunity and make the most of it, and some people won't.
Yep.
You will not have the same outcome.
Yeah. So, Michael, having looked at some of these wonderful slides about school boards, where do you think we can go? What do you think is do we have enough parents even interested in?
No. Well, here let's rewind just a little bit. When I posted that exact job role description on my website, when we had it, is the very next page that you go to, and I had a lot of traffic on that site, and I can't tell you how many people. Well, I mean, yeah, patriots and normal parents, they were like, they would agree with that. I can't tell you how many teachers. I had one guy come to my house and tell me that I have nothing to do with the curriculum. I have nothing to do with the standards. I have nothing to do with how things operate, and everything on that list. It's complete lie. There's no. I have none of those roles. A teacher came to my house and told me that.
Well, there's actually a state law that says that, because I got part of that from the state law. So when I got the part from the Idaho School Boards Association, I went and checked it with our state law, and that's what our state law says.
Yeah. Well, and I told him, I said, if I win, I just said, watch me. I said, I'll do it. I said, you just watch, and we will get all these things, sorted out. But really, I don't know what it's going to take, Jenny, outside of some type of, it's going to have to probably come from the legislature, where you're going to have some serious alternative training, an actual spotlight on school board education, proper school board education, not the one-sided OSSBA, brainwashing. You follow the district makes the rules, the district tells, the district makes a nice little packet of everything that's going to happen, and you just say yes. So until we actually have, the one thing that I was really worried about, like if I did win, was I thought maybe, parents would be pretty excited for a while, and then I'd be the lone guy up there, because everybody would just be like, oh, don't worry, Michael's got it. He's up there, he's watching out, and everybody would disengage. And that's
right.
Really kind of what's happening already, is everyone's going back to their lives. Everyone's busy going back to their lives. School board has become, school issues have just become secondary again. And, people are just going to just put up with it and go along. So until we have some type of real state focus on the real issue in education, in my opinion, is the school board themselves, because the school board is the first line of defense for parents. They're the ones that can make instant policies and changes and raise the standards in these schools, within a board meeting if they wanted to.
So let me show you this. For people who want to argue with you again, Michael, or argue with any of us about what school board duties are, here's literally the statutes. It's Title 70, Section 75, 117, powers and duties of and it says the Board of Education of each school district shall have the power to, and it provides all the information in this particular title. That's basically what I just said before. So if you want to go look this up for yourself, unlike the guy who came to Michael's house and was yelling at him about what he can't do.
Yeah.
Here you go. It's not a big fat lie. Unfortunately, you are uneducated and you don't know where to go look things up and find out if these things are laws or anything else. So there you go.
Well, look at number 3. Look at number 3. That says it all. You know, you're going to, maintain and operate a complete public school system in such character as the Board of Education shall deem best suited to the needs of the school district. I mean,
Yes.
I would raise the standards. I would make it a little bit harder. I'd make these kids actually work. I would bring in financial education. These kids have no idea how money works or anything like that. I mean, that's my background. That was the one major thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to teach these kids about money and business, how to make money, what debt is, how it works, what liabilities are. I wanted them to come out of school and have the confidence that they could go run their own business. But, I had parents tell me, not parents, I had other administrative people tell me, you can't just bring in curriculum like that. I go, why not?
Exactly.
Well, what was their answer?
They just said you can't do it. They didn't have any. They didn't have any.
Why
They're
not?
they're so indoctrinated.
Yeah,
they're just so indoctrinated to a system. The current system is just a literal control system.
That just cracks me up. It's the equivalent of because I said so.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, well, how does any new classroom, curriculum come into the school? You have to, you review it, you bring it before the board says, yeah, let's do it. And then your CEO, which is your superintendent, implements what we as the board say. It's no different than any business board. The board is the directive force, the governing force of any corporation or business. The board says what goes, how they direct how this company is going to run, and the CEO, which is the superintendent, and then all the other, titles like COO and CFO, they're all administrators within a company. They implement exactly and do the job of what the board has set out. It's really not that hard, but we, like I said, when I decided to run and people would come up to me and say, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Like when I had my meeting with the superintendent, they just basically said, we make a nice package for you. We'll give you all the, everything that has to do with the board meeting. We'll deliver that to you, a week before. You can just review it, but we've done all the work for you, and all you got to do is say yes, basically.
It kind of sounds like what schools have done to parents.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We'll do all the work for you. You just drop your kid off, and now look what we've got.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
Well, all of the curriculum and everything, that's what Common Core was all about, comes from one place, and it comes with federal strings attached.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to veer off Common Core was about getting every student in every school in the United States of America to learn the same thing on the same day.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? The teachers didn't need to know anything but how to read what they told them to do.
Yeah. Well, for our organization, we've had school board members reach out to us at ROPE, and we've talked to guys that literally say that they've been threatened by the district's attorneys or COSA or some organization like that because they're asking certain questions, or because they want certain data, or because they want to do a certain thing at school. I mean, that shows you how far and what the real controlling mechanism is, just how controlling these districts are at that level. Is they will go and threaten legal action against a school board member, and try to back them down. And that's just not one place.
I think that's a good thing. When we were together on Wednesday, and I made the point that, that legislators want to empower us parents, right? Yay, empower us. But then on the other hand, they're not doing, they're simply not doing their job. I mean, they could have done anything about anything that we've talked about right now. But here's the thing. They jump on these national bandwagons, like with Common Core. Who instituted Common Core in Oklahoma? Was it the Republicans or the Democrats? It
Yeah.
was the Republicans. And it took us forever to get the Republicans to understand that that's a national curriculum, which is absolutely specified against in federal law. In federal school law, it says you can't have a national curriculum. And yet all of a sudden, all the Republicans jumped on the bandwagon about that. And I think it's the exact same problem that we have with school choice, as a matter of fact, right now. If they really wanted to give school choice to parents, they would have jumped on the bandwagon with the bill to change school board elections to November.
Yeah.
They would have jumped on board with our bill with Shane
Yes.
Jett to get the training away from OSSBA and stop that training being 13 hours or whatever, and get it down to basically just school finance, which is what Cindy Bird's office says is the biggest thing. And she was willing to even do that. Right. So school finance and open records, which are the two biggest thing, and let the rest of it go. Well, guess what? No, not only did that bill get voted down in the Senate, but about 5 or 6 OSSBA and probably COSA members sat in the gallery looking down at the legislators during that bill like this.
And we pay them enough that they can run a candidate against any legislator that doesn't vote their way.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
pay them out of taxpayer funds. That's insane.
That's exactly right. Just like with our lawsuit with Bryce that we're going to talk about on Wednesday, those attorneys use taxpayer funds to try to get money out of taxpayers. It's the same exact thing. OSSBA gets millions of dollars in revenue a year for training, and that training comes out of our pockets because schools pay it. And schools don't have a money tree in their backyard. Their money is appropriated by the legislature from our pocketbooks. So this is all that's the worst part of this.
It's a racket.
Our tax dollars it is a racket. Our tax dollars are being used against us to specifically harm us and harm our kids. And yet our legislature would rather give money, my neighbor's money, to somebody else to put their kid in private school than solve the problems that are right here, right now.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely factual that these things that we're talking about, the change in OSSBA regulation in state law and training, that would have made a big difference. The moving to elections to November would have made a big difference. But no, they're in conference committee right now trying to figure out how to be better socialists for education.
Yeah.
So I cry BS on all of this stuff. It's just nonsense. You're not empowering parents by any of that.
Government is growing government, and that is all that it does. That is all that it does. Our 80% Republican state legislature.
Yeah. Well, to me, that the whole issue with education is completely systemic. I mean, when you look, no matter what they try to pass and give teachers all these raises and allocate all these resources, the problem is at the school board level, because you still, no matter how much money you pay teachers and whatever you do, you still have these districts that are in charge, and they're going to run the system exactly the way they see fit, which is according to government and how government standards, want things to be, not how the community actually wants their kids to be educated. So until you actually get some type of education and change that OSSBA and get actual school board members in there at ground zero, because that's truly ground zero. To me, that's the most important office, is getting into school board, because they can actually do something no matter what. If the legislature, they can talk for years and nothing's ever going to happen. You want to make a change in a short amount of time, you have to get in at school board level.
Yeah. Completely concur.
Exactly.
But we just have to get parents to do that. And it's just, when you have people that are calling us saying, I can't even I've been told I'm not allowed to talk to my other school board members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they just ignore you. You email in, they just ignore. They don't even reply.
Right. Well, a lot of them are educators. A lot of school board members are educators.
Yeah.
You're retired from the system.
Yes, and let's follow up with this. So are our legislators.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were, before they had the big
That-
push to get educators elected to our state legislature, they were already the number one group of people that were in our state legislature. They were already not lawyers. Everybody thinks lawyers run for office. No, educators run for office.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to wrap it up for today because we've got about 3 minutes left. So I thought I would just run through again. We're going to have Maria on Wednesday to talk about our lawsuit with Bryce, and that should be really good. So, please tune in for that one. Mike will be here on the 28th with Emily
Geraltson.
Geraltson. I don't know why. Sorry, Emily. I'm sorry. He'll be here on next Friday with Emily Geraltson to talk about their
parents won. Yay.
Yes. Yay for parents. So there are 2 lawsuits next week that we're going to talk about. And then the week after that, we're going to talk to Janelle Shellum about all of the work that she's done on digging into dirty books in Edmond. And we're going to talk to Dr. Craig Evans. And you might just give a plug for Craig, Michael.
Yeah, Dr. Evans, he's a retired doctor, super patriot. We became very good friends just over my campaign, and he was so concerned about the transgender issue and movement that's actually taking hold in our schools, and just the continued propagation from the school districts themselves, and not recognizing these things and shutting them down, and actually promoting, just like I said with the LGBTQ flag in Edmond Middle School. So he's done an extensive amount of work over the last 2 years. We've had many conversations about that. So he's going to come on and tell us everything about that.
Hey, I would love for him to get to come to the Canadian County Moms for Liberty meeting next Tuesday that we were talking about earlier. I would love for Dr. Evans to be there. He would get an opportunity to talk to Superintendent Walters for one thing.
Yeah, I'll send him a message.
Yeah. Okay. And don't forget, that'll be Dr. Evans will be on the 5th and Janelle will be on the 3rd. And you guys have a great Friday and a fantastic weekend. And we hope that you turn in on next Wednesday. So thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.